My name is Peter Cannon. I'm a Vice President of Issues for Eagle Forum. I'm not some kind of VIP. I'm one of you. 5, 6 years ago, I had never attended an Eagle Forum convention. I've attended several since then, and I wanted to tell you a little about how that came about. But first of all, I want to ask you, there are some 350 or 400 registered lobbyists who lobby officially up at the state legislature, paid, reimbursed somehow for all the work that they do. They all represent special interests. Do you think we can stop them? No, we can't stop them, but we can compete with them. And I'm an example of one of those that has done that, and I'd like to share with you a little about how we can do that today. Well, it was 5 or 6 years ago, I got involved in a Tea Party rally here in Salt Lake. It was the first one, even before the big one at the Federal Building, and I went up to the state capitol, and there were about 60 of us. We had written our own signs, and we're standing in the rotunda, listening to some speaker at a microphone, and we're holding our signs, we're mad. And a guy came down, he'd been standing up in the balcony looking down on our demonstration, and he came down and he said to me, "Would you like to make a real difference?" And I said, "I'm standing here with a sign, what do you think?" He says, "Well, the legislative session is not over yet." It was still before the end of the session. He says, "Have you got time to come with me tomorrow and for the next 5 days of the session? Just come follow me around, and I'll show you how to be a citizen lobbyist." I thought, "You can do that?" I said, "Yeah, I got time. I'm retired." And so I went with him, and we walked around. He introduced me to a bunch of legislators. We sat in some general sessions. We sent in some notes to the members of the House of Representatives and the Senate, telling them what we wanted them to do on whatever bills he was chasing. And poof, I discovered I was a lobbyist. I had no idea you could do that. The next year, he took me to a committee meeting. The committee meetings were over that year already, but the next year he took me into a committee meeting and he said, "When they ask if anybody from the public would like to comment on this bill, just raise your hand, you can do that." I said, "You can do that?" "Yeah, you can do that." So I got up to the microphone and I told them what I thought about a bill. I got to tell you this one story. One day they were having a discussion, I think in an education committee meeting. They wanted to remove all the vending machines from high schools. They didn't want to remove them. They wanted to dictate what you could put in a vending machine to be sold. I mean, when I was in the Army, I lived next to the Berlin Wall, about a third of a mile away from the Berlin Wall. Every week on the way to church, we drove right alongside the wall to get to church. And as I was sitting in that committee meeting and all the advocates of this bill to restrict what you could sell in vending machines at schools were talking, I thought, that sounds a lot like the way they used to talk on the other side of the wall. Why are they doing that? And so I got up to the microphone and I told the legislators there in the committee meeting, they're all nodding their head to these other guys that were speaking. I got up and spoke. I said, "You guys sound like the commissars from the other side of the wall telling us what we can and can't sell." And so they voted down the bill. I was shocked. I thought, I was shocked because I said, "I'm just some guy. I'm just some retiree who showed up here and sat down and they told me I could talk, so I did." and I changed their vote. I'm sure I did. There's no question. Nobody else spoke against that bill. And so I thought, this is pretty cool. Citizens can actually have an effect. You don't have to wait until voting time just to cast a vote. You can go up to the legislature and have an effect. But nobody knows how to do that. I thought I was pretty well educated. Heck, I was an officer in the Army, for heaven's sake. You'd think I would know what's going on in the government, but I didn't. And I suspect that some of you may not either. Some of your friends and family might not know either that they can do that. And so I thought I would just open your eyes today to how to do that. I'm not going to tell you all the tricks that I have up my sleeve now after these many 5 years, but I will promise if you'll come to my class on the 26th of January, up at the Capitol, I will share with you all my tricks of how to lobby and influence legislators. And there are others who are going to come and share with you their tricks, and some legislators, even the governor, is coming to speak to the class. If you'd like to hear Governor Gary Herbert tell you what he would recommend that lobbyists do, come to my class. It's on the 26th of June. June. Let's not wait till June. They'll be done by then. On the 26th of January, that's the first day of the Utah State Legislative Session. Come up to the Capitol, the main Capitol building, at 12:30. Eat your lunch first. Don't come, we're not giving you a free lunch, but come to the multi-purpose room. It's on the main floor of the Capitol building. As you come in the door from the quadrangle of the Capitol complex, turn to the right. First room on the right is the multi-purpose room. 12:30 to 4 o'clock, we're going to talk all about how citizens can be citizen lobbyists. I will tell you one thing that I'm going to tell them in the class. You don't have to register. You don't have to register as a lobbyist because we're not going to pay you. Nobody's going to pay you. You're just going to do this because you're a citizen. Unpaid citizen lobbyists do not have to register with the Lieutenant Governor's office and declare that they are an official lobbyist. Instead, we're citizens and we don't have to register for that. You don't even have to register for my class. Just come on in. And we'll talk about, the governor's going to talk to us. We're going to have Attorney General Sean Reyes has agreed to come by and talk with us. We expect to have Representative Jake Anderegg. You've heard from him this morning. He's going to talk to us about how to influence legislators. You've heard from Senator Al Jackson. He's going to come and talk to us. There are several others, Kurt Oda and a handful of others. Besides, even I will talk to you. Now, there is a privilege. What we need is issue specialists. So we need people who will focus on an issue. Maybe you'll focus on one bill. You may focus on a group of similar bills. You might even decide to focus on a whole committee of the legislature and go to all the committee meetings for that particular topic. But we need issue specialists who will learn the ropes of a particular bill, will track it as it goes through the system, will report to us what's going on in committee meetings, who will talk to legislators and tell those legislators what you'd like them to do, and make sure they understand how many people are with you and support the ideas that you advocate. And so those are the kinds of things that we're going to help you understand how to do in this class. I guess really the only question that you have to ask yourself is, do you really want to make a difference? I had no idea that I could make such a difference. I really didn't. I've had a lot of influence since then. Let me just take a minute to tell you the quick summary of some of the success I've had. Started with holding a poster at a rally at the Capitol. A couple of years later, some of my friends who were also lobbyists said, why don't somebody run for office? We said, well, who should run? And they started looking at me and I said, well, what would I run for? I said, I could run for school board. They said, yeah, let's do that. So I ran to be a member of the Davis County School Board, and wouldn't you know, they helped me win. So for the last 4 years, I've been a member of the Davis County School Board. And then, of course, the enemy took me on. They said, we can't have this kind of a guy on any of our school boards. He's too conservative. So in the primary elections this last year, they took me out, only got 20% of the vote because they all ganged up on me. And those that I recruited, though, were elected to run for other offices. And this last Tuesday night, 2 of the people that I recruited to run for Davis County School Board were elected to be president and vice president of the Davis County School Board, the second largest school district in the state. We have our first conservative school board in the state. It's going to make a huge difference. And I don't tell you that to brag about me, but I tell you, If you'd asked me 6 years ago, was I going to be here? Would I have had this influence? I'd have told you, no, no way. I had no idea that I could. But if you just step up and do something, if you'll come and learn how to be a lobbyist, you do not know where you'll end up. You may end up where Senator Jackson is. You may end up where Representative Chaffetz is. We do not know where we'll end up because it depends on our various talents. But we will have an influence, and it will be huge, and it's badly, badly needed. So I would ask you to ask yourself that very question. Do you really want to make a difference? Thank you.